throughout the procession. And at this time, as we begin, we ask all of you to please put your electronic devices, cell phones, pagers, any other device, just to please put it on silent mode so that it does not disturb the ceremony. I want to also say, of course, that photographs are welcome and invited during the procession and during the ceremony. So,
check. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. 1, 2.
one more time. The academic procession, led by Associate Dean for Experiential Learning Myra Berman, our Chief Graduate Marshal, and the 2018 class professor, is now entering the theater. And again, please remain seated for the procession.
Check. 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
You need to speak a little louder for me, all right? Sure.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Touro College Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center class of 2018. The graduates are being led into the hall by faculty marshals Myra Berman, Althea Sterling, Eileen Kaufman, Desiree Kennedy, Michael Lewin, Marjorie Silver, and Daniel Subotnick. please welcome members of the Law Center faculty and administration, Touro College administration, Touro Law Center Board of Governors, and distinguished guests. They're being led by Bruce Gould Distinguished Professor of Law, Richard Klein. Richie Klein. Harry Ballin, Dean of the Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center, Patricia Salkin, Provost of Touro College and University System, Graduate and Professional Schools, Jeffrey Rosengarten, Vice President for Operations, Howard Glickstein, Dean Emeritus, and Commencement Speaker, the Honorable Timothy D. Sini, have entered the theater. Dean Ballin, with your permission, the 36th Annual Commencement Exercises of the Touro College Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center on this 27th day of May, 2018, are now declared open. Tomorrow is Memorial Day. Please take a minute, a little time from the joy and celebration of this graduation season to honor the members of our military who gave their lives in defense of our freedoms, and to offer your thoughts and prayers for the safe return of the men and women of our armed forces currently serving in harm's way around the globe. And now, all please rise for, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the United States of America. Please remain standing. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be delivered by Rabbi Moshe Krupka, Executive Vice President and Ombudsman of the Touro College and University System. Rabbi Krupka.
Avinu Shabbat our Heavenly Father, bless all those who have assembled here today to rejoice in the commencement exercises of Touro College's Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center class of 2018. Almighty God, Shafet Kol Haaretz, divine judge, you have instructed humanity to embrace truth, protect the vulnerable, and most of all, tzedek tirdof, to ensure and pursue justice. Before you stand the graduates of 2018, men and women who stand at the dawn of their chosen careers to safeguard justice and truth as your agents. Let them exemplify the aspirations of their noble profession. Give them the divine guidance to provide competence, faithfulness, diligence, and good judgment for their clients. Let them offer fairness, integrity, and civility to their opposing parties and their counsel. Let them seek reconciliation, and if none can be achieved, let them resolve their dispute in a dignified fashion. To the bench, let them offer respect, truthfulness, and courtesy. and to the bar, let them strive for the highest level of professionalism, imbued with integrity, honesty, and the spirit of public service. Dear God, may you indeed give strength, courage, and fortitude to the men and women who now prepare to take leave of this academy. Bless them as they set out as your agents to serve humanity, wherever their diligence, compassion, and service is so sorely needed. And dear God, we ask that you shower your blessings upon the families of these students, parents, spouses, children, and other dear ones who have been there for support and encouragement and have sacrificed so much so that these students could succeed. Dear God, as we gather here this afternoon, we ask for your divine guidance and blessing for this great citadel of learning, Touro's Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center. Bless the administration, the incredible faculty, and the unbelievable students, men and women of good faith, faith in our collective ability to achieve excellence and impart knowledge, faith in our ability to partner with the Almighty to protect the defenseless and advance the cause of tzedek, righteousness, and truth, faith in our ability to serve, strengthen, and improve your world, dear God, with its rich diversity and ever-increasing potential for good. Grant us the wisdom, resolve, and fortitude to educate, to inspire, and to lead. Amen.
Please be seated. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Harry Ballin, Dean of the Touro College Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center.
To Provost Salkin, Rabbi Krupka, Jeff Rosengarten, other members of the Touro College administration, to the Law Center faculty, administration, and Board of Governors, to District Attorney, the Honorable Timothy D. Sini and his staff, and to all of our distinguished guests, welcome. And to the class of 2018, and to all of your family and loved ones, congratulations. To the students especially, I want to offer some words of support and encouragement in addition to congratulations. First, I want you to consider a paradox. A study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that 1/3 of prescriptions from primary care doctors are never filled, and half of the remaining 2/3 are filled, but the medication is not taken correctly, which means that only about 1/3 of all prescribed medications in the United States are taken properly. Now, contrast that with anecdotal evidence that medications prescribed by veterinarians for household pets show very high levels of compliance. A Canadian psychologist has observed this contrast and asked whether we care more about our pets than about ourselves. Do we know how to take care of ourselves? Why do I ask you to consider this paradox? It's because all of you, an entire generation, or more than one, so-called millennials and subsequent groups, have been unfairly maligned as egotistical. Don't give in to the cynicism that drives that characterization. I believe that many of you and many of us suffer from a very different problem, maybe the opposite problem, not egotism, but lack of self-respect. To quote a psychologist, instead of narcissistically inflating their own importance, in some cases they don't value themselves at all, and they don't take care of themselves with attention and skill. They are excruciatingly aware of their own faults and inadequacies, real and exaggerated, and ashamed and doubtful of their own value. They believe other people shouldn't suffer, and they will work diligently and altruistically to alleviate it. They extend the same courtesy even to the animals they are acquainted with, but not so easily to themselves. End of the quotation. To sacrifice yourself, even for the highest good, does not mean that you must always suffer silently or support the tyranny of bullies or allow yourself to be mistreated, even by yourself. Quote, "It is not virtuous to be victimized by a bully, even if that bully is oneself." An ancient Jewish sage, quoted in Touro College's original mission statement, said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? If not now, when?" Respect yourself, take care of yourself, and then take care of others. Whether you take this literally or metaphorically, know that you are made in the image of God, or ultimate goodness. Take on responsibilities and glory in them. Don't avoid difficulties, seek them out and rise to the challenge. In the Bible's creation story, God creates the world through articulate speech, and it is good, and the people in it are very good. It is this beginning in goodness, in the goodness of a creation by a benevolent creator, that T.S. Eliot was referring to in Little Gidding from his 4 quartets when he wrote, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started, in that good world, that product of a benign creator's articulate speech, and know the place for the first time in a condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." In Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, Willie Loman's son Biff says to his father, "Pop, I'm a failure. We're all a failure. I'm a dime a dozen." And Willie says to Biff, "No, son, you're not a dime a dozen. You're magnificent." Class of 2018, be amazed by the ability of people to be kind to each other, to love each other, to maintain the world. Give yourselves credit for acting with care towards yourselves and others. Be grateful for the concern you receive and give. After you've put your house in order, go out and change the world, but begin with yourself. Be astonished by your own ordinariness, as well as by your achievements and those of others. Help others and yourselves to bear the burden and to enjoy the blessings of being. Study hard, pass the bar, flourish in your professional lives and in every aspect of your lives. Precious graduates, I, together with everyone in this room, wish you well. Fare forward, and congratulations. It is now my honor to introduce the Provost of the Touro College and University System, Patricia Salkin.
Thank you, Dean Ballin. Dean Ballin, Executive Vice President Krupka, Senior Vice President Rosengarten, District Attorney Sini, other members of the Touro College Administration, the Law Center faculty, administration, Board of Governors, and distinguished guests on the stage, and everyone in the audience. On behalf of Touro College and University System President Dr. Alan Kadish, congratulations, Class of 2018. President Kadish does send his warm regards and sincere regrets that he is not with us today. But as some of you may know, Touro College is a large institution with many schools, and unfortunately, at this time of year, that means that we have competing celebrations and graduations, and we have to share him periodically with our sister schools. But Class of 2018, I have an admission to make. I'm delighted to be up here now giving you these greetings and good wishes instead of the President, because you know we have a bit of a special bond. For the overwhelming majority of the JD graduates today, you were my last class as Dean. I do remember going through your law school applications and at orientation sharing that some of you wanted to practice criminal law, others family law, aging and longevity law, corporate and business law. Some of you were interested in intellectual property law, and others in land use or environmental law, constitutional law, international law, health law, immigration law, veterans law. But at the core, there was commonality in your personal statements. You each expressed a commitment and desire to help people, to seek fairness and justice, and to give a voice to those who had none or whose voices were weak. Many of you described situations in which you saw yourselves as agents for positive change, armed with a law degree. You are here, May 27th, 2018, and today you have earned that degree. But members of the class of 2018, never forget that this ceremony confirming that you have completed your formal JD studies comes at a price. And I'm not talking about tuition and cost of attendance. The price I'm referring to is the enormous responsibility of doing good for society, being a leader, protecting and indeed advancing our rule of law, and always working towards your goals through service to others with the highest degree of professionalism and ethical conduct. And Touro Law Center has prepared you well for this. In the classroom, in the clinics, through externships, honor societies, and countless experiential opportunities. There's hardly a week that goes by when there are not multiple speakers, panels, and programs at the Law Center where you have sharpened your critical thinking skills, considering new ideas and different perspectives that sometimes brought about what we've called courageous conversations, those hot-button topics that our communities and indeed our country grapple with. And you leave here with a full toolbox of skills to help lead those conversations, to interpret and apply the law, and to develop and refine public policy. This is why I believe that our tomorrow will be a whole lot better because of you, class of 2018. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the exceptional faculty who have guided you through your education. And I want to publicly acknowledge that earlier this month, President Alan Kadish recognized only 4 faculty for excellence in teaching throughout all of Touro College, and our Professor Rena Seplowitz was one of those 4. Congratulations, Professor Seplowitz. In closing, you, members of the class of 2018, have inspired me, and I, along with everyone else on this stage, anxiously await your admission to the bar. Congratulations to all of you.
It is a long-standing tradition that each graduating class choose a favorite faculty member to make some remarks at these proceedings. The class of 2018 has selected Associate Dean Myra Berman. And now I get to embarrass her. Dean Berman began her career as a teacher of history. Now she's a teacher of law. During the time in between, she studied English literature and social work, earning master's degrees in both fields, and working as an English teacher at Stony Brook, and then as a director of foster care at an agency in Jamaica, Queens. She graduated from Touro Law Center in 2005 and has been with us ever since. First as a member of our Academic Development Department, then as a director of our collaborative court programs, and most recently as the Associate Dean for Experiential Learning. She has been a driving force and my partner in the development and implementation of several new programs, all of which are providing our students with educational opportunities that also serve our neighborhood. In Brentwood, at the Child Advocacy Clinic, in the Domestic Violence Practicum, and in the Access to Justice statewide initiative. Beginning July 1st, she will be our academic dean. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Dean Myra Berman.
I can't see you, I wish I could, but you know I'm speaking with you. Welcome, graduates, and congratulations to you and your families. Today is a day to celebrate your past achievements and a day to commence, to begin the next step in your journey towards becoming a lawyer. The first step of commencing, starting tomorrow, not today, is the bar, and you know I don't mean the corner bar. But after the bar, what's next? You begin your life as a member of our noble profession, a profession where we do far more than just earn a living, we help the living. We enrich and improve the lives of others, an important role, an important responsibility. When I learned that I would have the chance to speak to you today, I wanted to speak to you, as I so often do, because you allow me to, from my heart. I wanted to share with you something personal. And so I started to remember a day half a century ago, around Memorial Day weekend, when a presidential candidate that I had the honor to meet, a lawyer you may have heard of by the name of Bobby Kennedy, told the crowd of college students on the Brooklyn Promenade that our role is not only to answer the sometimes desperate cries of individuals, but also to respond to the hundreds of communities and the millions of citizens who are looking for answers. Answers to questions about the use of force, the use of repression, gun stocks, barriers of hostility and mistrust. I remember those words spoken in 1968. They were true then, and some of them are true now. He believed that we could and we should do better in this country. And in so many ways, we have done better. We have made undeniable progress. We have lived through the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the gay rights movement, all movements that led us towards freedom and equality for all Americans. We changed the laws, and in this nation of laws, that's the job of lawyers, of citizens. Yet there are other ways where we have not done so well, where my world of more than 50 years ago is frighteningly similar to today's world. I remember having to hide under my desk in elementary school as a child of 6 or 7. Why? To prepare for the possibility of a nuclear attack on our country. That still sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? And those barriers that Bobby Kennedy spoke about, they still exist. They are the barriers that separate one American from another, that push some persons out and pull others in. Those barriers that destroy our common bonds and lead instead to anger, mistrust, and conflict. Yes, Kennedy was right. We have to do better. We have to do more. And I'm not referring to politics here, not at all, neither yours nor mine. I'm speaking only of our humanity, of our mission to serve as advocates. We change the laws. You have to see that they are enforced with fairness, and more importantly, that they are accepted. So how, you ask, can you do this? How can you do better? How can you do more? And now is the time when I wish I could see you, because you and Solange Knowles have taught me the answer to that question, and you know who you are. I hear you. What do? You take your seat at the table. You're well qualified to do it now that you're a Touro graduate. You take that seat and you raise your voice. I wish I had the courage 50 years ago to raise my voice. I didn't then, but I do now. And so I'm using my voice today to say to you, sit at that table, raise your voice, and move our world in a new direction. I'm not done yet. I want to see a better world. I want to keep living in a free country. I want the aspirations of Bobby Kennedy and the dreams of Martin Luther King to finally become realities. The generation of lawyers sitting on this stage and elsewhere have helped to change the law, but your job is far more difficult. You have to change the minds and the hearts of our citizenry. I have yet to live in a world where my children and my grandchild will be accepted fully and openly, no matter who they are or what they believe. I have yet to live in a world where we will all see the content of the characters of our fellow citizens, where we will welcome the richness of the cultures we all bring to the table. I have yet to live in a world where men and women like Edith and Thea and James and John, no matter where in America they choose to live, will not only have the same rights as any couple named Mary and Michael, but also will be accepted and embraced by their neighbors. I have yet to live in a world where in workplaces, in all fields, women will finally be valued and earn what they deserve, earn what men earn for doing the same work. And I have yet to live in a world where beauty in literature, music, art, dance, whether the art is definable as beauty by the majority, a world where all human artistic expression is not only permissible, but flourishes. But I have not lost hope of seeing such a world. Why not? You. Because of you. And so this is the final assignment I give to you today. Throughout your professional lives, embrace a vision and reality of a new world by finding your voice and using it, by taking your seat at the table and negotiating for the kinds of changes that will move our country forward. Congratulations on your accomplishments of today. As so many of you know, my hopes and my dreams for tomorrow, I leave in your very capable hands. We are all relying on you, our future generation of lawyers. So go out there, pass that bar exam, get admitted, take your place at the table, raise your voice, and get this done.
On behalf of the graduation committee, I would like to apologize for the typographical error on the honors graduation page in the program. Our valedictorian for the full-time division is Stephen Weinstein, and the valedictorian for the part-time division is Luann DePoto Dalla Our salutatorian for the full-time division is Michael J. Borger, and the salutatorian for the part-time division is Jenna Johansson. Will you all please join me in congratulating the valedictorians, Stephen Weinstein full-time and Luann DePoto Dalla part-time. And I'd also like you to join me in congratulating the salutatorians, Michael J. Borger full-time and Jenna Jonason part-time. The valedictorians will now share some brief remarks. First, Mr. Weinstein. Stephen.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean Ballin, Provost Salkin, distinguished faculty, and honored guests. And a special thank you to all of our family and friends here today, and those that supported us along the way. We couldn't have done this without you guys. Quickly, I want to personally thank my family and friends for their continued support, especially my parents, brother, and Uncle Jay. Could we give our friends and family a round of applause? Graduates, can you imagine we're here today? Finally done with long hours in the library, homework, tests, well, just one more test to go. For most of us, the others have no worries, they already passed the bar. It's been 3 long but seemingly short years. Most of us still remember our first day of class. Me, I even remember orientation. I walked in 2 minutes early, yes, early, which was late by Professor Shaw's standards, and proceeded to be called out along with a few other students. Yeah, wow, that felt just like yesterday. But it wasn't. It was 3 years ago. We've come a long way, and it's really hard to appreciate our accomplishments along the way because we're always so busy. It's the will drafting assignment due Tuesday, con law test on Wednesday, work Thursday, externship Friday, and repeat. Oh yeah, not to mention the 150 pages of reading due. It's been one thing after another. We have to step back, reflect, and appreciate all that we accomplished, where we are today. We have done great things these past 3 years. No one that stands here today was without a challenge, but each of us took that challenge and turned it into an opportunity. And today, we stand here together as Touro Law graduates. And if we survive law school with all the other constant strains of everyday life, we can accomplish anything. And this is only the beginning of what is to come. We all came to Touro for different reasons. Some to practice law, others for the knowledge and skill set to utilize in a different area, and others because they weren't exactly sure what they wanted to do. Hey, some of us still don't even know. Regardless of why we entered law school, though, when most of us decided to come here, it wasn't necessarily to be a leader. And that is what all of us have become, leaders. Touro created leaders. While we typically perceive leaders to be CEOs, managing partners, presidents, that does not end the list. A leader is a person of courage and action, one that acts with compassion to listen to the needs of others, acts with integrity and an independent mind. That is us, each and every one of us. As leaders, each of us has a duty. We guide, assist, inspire, donate, mentor. As leaders, each of us has the ability to make a significant change. And I don't necessarily mean on a grand scale, even in our own community. And Touro taught us how to do it. As leaders, our learning doesn't stop here. We must continue to learn and grow so we can go out and accomplish great feats. We have almost limitless opportunities for which we can use our law degree. We can, of course, be a lawyer. But where? In-house counsel, an associate, partner, nonprofit, government agency. We can be a writer, politician, social worker. The list goes on. What's important? Well, what's important is that we make sure we follow our passion. I leave you with this. Remember to walk with determination like there is somewhere you have to be. Walk with importance, for you are someone will want to know. and walk with pride. We are graduates of Touro Law Center. Congratulations once again to our class 2018. We did it. Thank you.
Now, the valedictorian of our part-time division, Luann DePoto Dalgiacono. Luann?
Dean Ballin, Provost Salkin, Touro staff and faculty, the Honorable Tim Sini, distinguished guests, friends, family, and my fellow graduates. Good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity to address you. In preparing to speak today, I couldn't help but think about where this journey started. Orientation day, the day we made our first law school friend, learned what TWEN is, and we're told that law school would teach us how to think. It seems like a lifetime ago, and it may as well have been, because we are not the same people we were when we started. I, for one, now see the world through law-colored glasses. Words have new meaning to me. Consideration is no longer just carefully thinking about something. A brief is anything but. And double jeopardy, no longer just a round in a TV quiz show where the points are worth twice as much. Even coffee is different to me. I used to look at coffee and just see a cup of beautiful caffeinated elixir that was going to power me through the day. But now, when I look at my to-go cup from my favorite coffee shop, I see much more. I look at the logo and wonder, is this a registered trademark? I pop open the lid and think about what kind of patent protection it might have. I see contract law in the cross-branding. And when I read the notice that says, caution, the beverage you're about to drink is hot, I think, oh, that McDonald's case. Because to the trained eye, the law is truly everywhere. I came to law school thinking I would just be learning the law. But the truth is, I have learned so much more than that. I did learn how to think, just as they promised at orientation. And only now, as I stand before you at our graduation, do I fully appreciate what that means. I've learned to question everything and take few things at face value. I have learned that ambiguity can be my friend or foe, depending on what side of the case I'm on. I've learned how to think on my feet and how to ask questions in search of answers I don't even know I need yet. I have learned that there isn't always a clear right answer, and there is always a way to argue the other side. I have learned to trust my gut, not just when answering a multiple choice question, but also when facing everyday situations and decisions. And my favorite thing that I have learned, the thing that gives me the most hope and the most excitement about starting a law career, is that although we talk about black letter law, the law is anything but black and white. Despite the countless pages of cases and statutes filled with bright line rules we have encountered in our studies, we have also seen how the law and the court always seem to provide a way for justice to thrive. To me, that is the beauty of the law. That fairness and justice can be front and center, but they can also be hiding in the exceptions, in the wiggle room, in the totality of the circumstances. The law is flexible in another way, in that it changes, evolves, and adjusts every day. And it doesn't do this on its own. It changes because of the human element, because of cases brought by lawyers on behalf of clients and decided by judges, or implemented by a legislature sparked by a constituent need. And now, armed with our JDs, we can be a part of that change. We now have the tools we need to contribute to the law, to change it, to help it evolve, to shape it. And though not every case is necessarily going to change the law, every case certainly will change a life. As lawyers, we are going to see people on their best days and on their worst days. Perhaps they'll be celebrating something exciting, like buying a house or starting a business, or maybe they'll be navigating something much more difficult, like a conflict or a tragedy. But no matter what type of law we go into, with every client we see, we will have a chance to help them get through something important, something that might shape their lives forever. And bringing them to the other side of it will affect not only them, but also their families, or their friends, or their business partners, even society at large. The chain is endless, and that is how changing one person can change the world. What an exciting opportunity, and what an important responsibility. We now have special knowledge and skills that others don't have. We know the law and how it works. We can be the voice of those who need help, but who don't speak the legal language in which we are now proficient. Today marks the day we become a link in this causal chain that can bring about tangible change in other people's lives. As our journey at Touro comes to a close, we of course remember that we were not in it alone. Thank you to our families and our non-law school friends for your unending support and understanding when we went missing in action for long periods of time. Thank you to our professors and the Touro faculty and administration for not only imparting your legal wisdom upon us, but for also being there for us when we needed you. And to the class of 2018, thank you for sharing your knowledge with me in the classroom, for inspiring me with your passion and dedication, and most of all, for your friendship. We were in this together, and it has been an honor and a privilege to be on this journey with you. Congratulations. I look forward to changing the world with you.
I'd like to invite our salutatorians to the stage for the full-time division, Michael Borger. And for the part-time division, Jenna Jonason. To broaden access to legal education, Touro offers 2 programs enabling students to obtain the JD according to a shortened or extended timeline. Graduates completing these programs are not eligible for valedictorian or salutatorian awards, but we want to honor the achievements of the graduates who finished first and second in the 2-year full-time and 5-year part-time programs. Will Dennis Carrion, highest cumulative GPA, and Brandon Stevens, second highest cumulative GPA in the 2-year full-time program, please come forward. Will Julianne Jensen, highest cumulative GPA, and Barbara Roman, second highest cumulative GPA from the 5-year part-time program, please come forward. Will Haley Cantrell please join me? Each year, Haley, each year the graduating students choose one of their own to be the recipient of the Ronnie Cohn Class Orator Award and to address the graduates, faculty, and guests. This year's class orator is Haley Lara Cantrell. I invite Haley to offer her remarks. That's yours.
How about that nice weather, everyone? Before I welcome you all here today, I would just like to remind the class of 2018 that we actually did it. The moment we actually never thought would come is here. We are here, and we're graduating. It happened, and that's pretty awesome. Okay, welcome. Provost Salkin, Dean Ballin, Tim Sini. The esteemed faculty and staff that got us here today, either by teaching us, guiding us, finding an internship when we were in need of one, or reminding us to pay that ever-dreaded bill. Last but not least, welcome to the families, friends, and the rest of the support teams that we all used and abused over the past 3 or so years, especially my team that's here supporting me today. Thank you for being here and convincing each and every one of us that we were indeed not going to fail that one test that we said we were going to fail that one time. No road is long with good company, at least according to a Turkish proverb. Now, I know there are some of us here graduating today that may disagree with this quote, because even though we did find good company along the way, it feels as though we hiked miles and miles and miles of mountains and swam through the Grand Rapids just to get here. But let me frame it for you in a way I think that we can all understand. During my extensive legal research, I stumbled upon the ever-reliable Google. Google, as handy as it is, led me to a psychological article that stated in part, despite its unpleasantness, pain may actually have positive social consequences, acting as sort of a social glue that fosters cohesion and solidarity within groups. And that's when it hit me, you guys. We voluntarily just went through a painful 3+ years just to sit here and be sweating. This pain brought all of us together. Different ages, people of different backgrounds, people who have different interests in the law and different goals for postgraduate. That glue, common trait that we all have together is pain. We all know what this pain feels like. For those of you here that may not be aware of the pains that I'm speaking about, let me share them with you. I listed them. Oh, this is awkward. Let me just highlight a few for you guys. Let's start with the word Iraq. Exactly. Most of you here probably think of a country in the Middle East because that's what it is. But talk about the pain of writing one way your entire life, thinking you're the best writer ever, and then getting to law school just to find out that you actually suck, and that these 4 letters, IRAC, will save your life. All right, what do we got? Okay, how about the change in professors a few days before class starts? Yeah. Outside of law school, seeing the PA instead of the doctor due to a change in circumstances is really no big deal. But here, it's pure torture. Maybe if the syllabi and books stayed the same for every core class, but that would just be too easy. I'm not sure about any of you, but I'm really still not positive if I have Kaufman or Shaw or the other one for evidence. I really don't know. Okay, last but not least, naps, or lack thereof. Of course, outside of the four walls of law school, napping is great and accessible on the occasional weekend. But in law school, students barely get to sleep at night, let alone enjoy a random snooze while the sun is shining, unless your name is James and you used to work at the security desk. Sorry, James, miss ya. All right. Now, I hope I painted a picture of the unpleasant pains that we as law school students suffered. And if so, I can now tell you about the positive social consequences that we as a social group now carry with us as a result of these pains. For starters, we are all smarter and wiser than when we entered these four walls. Next, most of our passions to help those who are in need have caught fire through this wild ride, and we are now more eager and ready to begin our careers as attorneys. And, if I may, the best positive social consequences of all is that we gained each other. From classes to study groups to celebratory nights out at Maxwell's, weddings and baby showers, we have now become a family. And I know that I do not speak on behalf of just myself when I say that I could not have done it without you guys, and I really wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else. Finally, this brings me back to that weird Turkish proverb I talked about earlier, that no road is long with good company. Although our road was long, longer for some than others, and painful, very, very, very painful, we reached the end. And it is with the good company within this community that we built that made this journey a little less painful, a little less scary, and a little less long. Congratulations to the class of 2018. In the words of L. Woods, we did it, baby! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Haley, I hope it wasn't too painful. Just remember the words of a recent Secretary of State who said, Iraq is a quagmire. Last month, we had a ceremony at the law school to honor all the graduates who are receiving awards for their academic achievement, service to the school, and service to the legal profession, public, and community. Listed in your programs are the names of all those graduates who received awards at that ceremony. At this time, I would like to invite all award recipients to stand at their seats so they may be recognized. Let us give our award recipients a round of applause. Congratulations. We are honored to have Suffolk County's District Attorney, the Honorable Timothy D. Sini, as our commencement speaker. I first met Tim in Judge Robinson's drug treatment court when he was police commissioner. There is no reason why a commissioner of police needs to attend a ceremony at which criminal defendants have had the option to pursue treatment rather than incarceration. I knew that this police commissioner was different. He was there and quietly, as well as publicly, has embraced the idea that what we pursue in law enforcement is justice. And I think he fulfills beautifully the words that Rabbi Krupka alluded to, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. We pursue justice, we pursue it, we run after it. This is just one of the ways in which Tim distinguished himself as police commissioner. Crime rates were down dramatically. He instituted training programs within the police department and reforms of all kinds. More recently, after elected to the position of district attorney and after taking the office, he instituted an integrity unit. He started training unprecedented in that office, and I am happy to report that some of that training took place at our law center with my enthusiastic support, training of his assistant district attorneys. He's involved our faculty in that training. I think the level of training in the district attorney's office is unprecedented for that office. Prior to taking the job of police commissioner with responsibility for 1.5 million people who live in Suffolk County, Tim was an assistant U.S. attorney in the prestigious office of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. He's a graduate of the elite FBI Executive Institute. He serves on presidential commissions, is a national leader in law enforcement. Most of all, I am proud and honored that we have the opportunity to honor Tim for his courage in pursuing justice and truth, exemplified by the training that our students know about in those cases. Remember them, Brady and Rosario, on turning over exculpatory evidence to defense counsel. And he has truly been a leader not just for Suffolk County, but for the United States in containing crime in a humane way, in a decent way, and in a way that always put justice before anything else. I now give you the Honorable Timothy D. Cini, District Attorney of Suffolk County.
Thank you. Thank you to the Provost and Dean Ballin. Thank you to the Dean for his leadership here at Touro, his leadership in the community, and for inviting me to speak today at this year's commencement address. As Suffolk County's newly elected district attorney, I can't imagine a better privilege and indeed opportunity to address this year's outgoing graduates. First of all, congratulations to all of this year's graduates. You should be extremely proud of yourselves. Additionally, for all those loved ones who provided support to the graduates, they would not be here but for your support and unconditional love. So thank you for what you've done for them, and in turn, thank you for what you've done for the legal community. I know how difficult it is to complete law school. It wasn't too long ago that I graduated myself. I'm probably the only district attorney in Suffolk's history to be still paying off his student loan debt. So let me be the first, or one of the first, to tell you, you are now lawyers. There have been thousands of individuals before you who have had the privilege of obtaining a law degree in this great nation. Some of the most influential people in our country's history were lawyers. John Adams, as a lawyer, he defended defendants who were charged in connection with the Boston Massacre. He later became a founding father, a diplomat, and a president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln, he got his nickname Honest Abe by representing his clients honorably. And as one person once joked, probably the only lawyer in our history with a nickname that included the word honest. He later became one of the most influential Americans in our history. Clarence Darrow, an outstanding litigator who used his skills to defend the underdog and championing civil liberties in a way that was quite unique for his time. Thurgood Marshall, one of the most influential civil rights activists, and who, as United States Solicitor General, argued Brown v. Board of Education, lifting the doctrine of separate but equal. Later to be appointed the first African American Supreme Court Justice. Sandra Day O'Connor, first female ever to serve on the United States Supreme Court. And being the first woman to do something was her forte. She was the first majority leader in a state senate. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, each and every day evincing her tenacity, becoming the second female ever to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, and doing perhaps the most in recent history to champion women's rights in this country. Putting aside the names that we know well, there are thousands of lawyers each and every day who serve in the public interest, government, the private sector, academia, and other capacities, who are moving our society in the right direction. At the same time, history and current events have made crystal clear that so many who have had the privilege of obtaining a law degree in this great nation have failed us, have not advanced society in a positive direction, and indeed have become destructive forces in their own right. I won't provide a list of those individuals because we'd be here all day. My point is simple. You make of your law degree what you will. So I want you to ask yourself, what type of lawyer do you want to be? What do you want to contribute to our society? What mark do you want to have on your community and the practice of law? These questions are of particular relevance today. Each generation of lawyers, as they graduate law school, face unique societal challenges and opportunities. You are completing law school at a time in our history that is undoubtedly unique. It seems each day we wake up, we are reminded that our community, our nation, our world is in desperate need of moral leadership. It doesn't matter if you are Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, black or white. We can all agree that our society, though coming so far, is far from an enlightened state. Current events provide proof. Whether it is a shooting in one of our schools, the devastation of the current drug epidemic, corporate greed taking advantage of the underprivileged, an impoverished young mother abandoning her child, a public corruption scandal, another grotesque example of the denigration of women, an assault on the virtues of diversity, the advancement of the idea that facts no longer matter and dogmatic tribalism rules the day. Or yet another environmental disaster that we're only supposed to see once in our lifetime. Whatever the issue, I challenge you to ask yourself, am I part of the solution? Am I going to be part of the solution, and how? Our natural lives are but mere blinks in this universe. Each day that goes by, we have the opportunity to make our community, our nation, and this world a better place. A better place not only for ourselves, not only for our loved ones, but for future generations to come. For some of you, perhaps that means a career in public interest, a career in government, a career in academia, a career in the private sector, whether at a firm or starting your own law practice. How you choose to make this world a better place is of little consequence. What matters is that you play your part, that you are a force of good, that you are constantly striving to be better each and every day, and you use your skills to effect positive change. You must all be leaders in your own right. You must embrace the obligation to lead at all times, morally and ethically, respecting others, always striving to do the right thing, and constantly asking yourself, am I making a positive difference? You may be saying to yourselves, okay, sounds good. I can buy into that. But what does that mean for me? I'm about to graduate law school in about 1 minute. I have law school debt, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with my life, much less how I'm going to make a living while making this world a better place. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. No successful person has any idea. Or perhaps you're sitting here thinking, or perhaps you're sitting here and you in fact have a great job lined up, and you feel that you have everything figured out. Resist that feeling. Each one of us should keep our expectations and our goals elastic. We should strive to reach our full potential and have the most positive impact in our community as possible. So many trailblazers in our history did not set out for greatness, but rather continued on a quest of enlightenment and stepped up to the plate when most needed. George Washington did not want to be our first president. He wrote this religiously. He wrote to Alexander Hamilton that all he wanted to do was retire on his farm. He wrote to others, including his wife, that he thought becoming president was a march to his own death. Probably knew what he was talking about. And today, we need not look any further than Parkland, Florida, where the students did not anticipate having thrust upon their shoulders an enormous obligation to speak up. But they did. They stepped up in an unimaginable tragedy. The lesson learned is stay ready. Constantly strive to better yourself, always do the right thing, and seize the opportunity, because too many don't. You must be ready to be the right person at the right time to do the right thing. I had the privilege of serving as Suffolk's police commissioner and now to serve as the county's district attorney. I broke a few barriers in both those titles. One of those barriers being that I was the youngest person to ever serve in both titles. And I don't just mean by a few years. So, why me? Was I the obvious choice? Did I prepare for those challenges? Of course not. I grew up middle class here in Suffolk County. I actually grew up with a pretty severe speech impediment and anxiety about public speaking and public attention. I confronted those challenges, which I hope is obvious. Became a lawyer like all of you. And after about 5 years of practicing law in a variety of capacities, I was appointed as an assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of New York, which is a federal prosecutor in Manhattan. I served as an AUSA for about 5 years, ultimately specializing in investigating and prosecuting gang violence and homicides. I loved my job, but I yearned to do something in my own backyard. So I took a job in Suffolk County as the Assistant Deputy County Executive for Public Safety, where I was essentially a policy advisor to the county executive on criminal justice issues and public safety. Got to work on some exciting issues. It was a great job. But one day I woke up not knowing that that day would set in motion a series of significant events for our county, our region, and certainly for me personally. In sum, the county executive told me that he believed that the then chief of department had committed the crime and covered it up. We agreed that he had to fire him immediately. And he did, despite the fact that he was up for re-election in 2 weeks and his political advisors feared what impact that would have on him politically. I didn't expect to be put in that position, and I certainly did not expect what would follow. The county executive then asked me to serve as police commissioner to set the ship straight. Now keep in mind, the Suffolk County Police Department is the 11th largest police department in the country. It has 2,500 sworn officers, approximately 1,000 civilian employees, and a budget of $500 million with a B dollars. I thought the ask was bold, to say the least. I had never served as a police officer. I was younger than the previous police commissioners by decades, but I accepted the call to serve. I immediately got to work putting together a team of professionals, conducting a top-to-bottom assessment of the department, and launching a number of reforms and initiatives with the ultimate objective of making the department as effective as possible. During our work, at the beginning, I was told that I couldn't get the job done. The Newsday editorial board literally wrote an editorial that said I was not the right choice. At the time, I thought that was rude. But now, I literally, as we speak, am having it framed so that I can hang in my office. The department, from the brass to the rank and file, viewed my appointment with a healthy dose of skepticism. I was repeatedly told I was too young, too inexperienced, and not equipped to get the job done. There were some dark days. As a man of faith, I went to the Bible for some inspiration, and with the help of one of my many spiritual advisors, I found a verse that was particularly appropriate. Timothy says to Matthew, "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity." So I took that to heart, kept working, and kept working around the clock. In the end, we put together a great team, overcame the scandal created by the former chief of department, restored integrity to the leadership of the department, reduced crime to historic lows by enhancing our intelligence-led policing model and our community policing strategies, took on MS-13 and put them on the run, aggressively addressed the opioid epidemic by not only enhancing enforcement, but by launching innovative diversion programs, launched a number of community policing initiatives which improved community relations, made the department more efficient by reducing response times and increasing proactive police work, all the while reducing police overtime costs, which are on the rise for several consecutive years. We did this simply by empowering the hardworking men and women of the department, sworn and civilian, and by continuing to send a message that our job, our mission, is to protect and to serve the residents of Suffolk County in the most effective way possible. Now, the department, like any other large law enforcement agency, is a work in progress, and it needs to continue to strive to improve and be the best it can be. And knowing the great men and women who make up the department, I know that's exactly what it will do. During my tenure as police commissioner, however, I came to realize that the leadership of the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office was of the same ilk as the former chief of department, and it needed reform. We weren't going to reform the criminal justice system, ensuring that it was serving the residents of Suffolk County each and every second of the day, without reforming the district attorney's office. So I attempted to recruit someone to run for district attorney. I didn't want to run. I was extremely focused on the department, and frankly, I thought it was taking on too much. So I turned my sights on a particular individual who I thought would make a great DA, and he turned the tables on me and ultimately convinced me that I was the right person at the right time to get the job done. But again, I was told that I couldn't do it. And there are some consistent themes here. I was too young, too inexperienced. I wasn't the choice of the political leadership. I had never run in a large race before, and so on and so on. But fast forward, and I was elected as the Suffolk County District Attorney in a landslide election. My team and I have the privilege of being tasked with making the DA's office the best it can be. We've restored integrity to the leadership of the DA's office. We've made significant personnel and structural changes to improve the operations of the office. We've partnered with the Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government to ensure that we're making objective, data-driven decisions regarding personnel and policy. We've launched a number of different crime-fighting initiatives that are making Suffolk County a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. We're on the verge of doing some big things. In both positions, as police commissioner and now as district attorney, I've simply empowered good people to do good work. All I have really done is provided a space for innovation and righteousness. Both the department and the DA's office is filled with unbelievable public servants. And with moral leadership, the sky is the limit. I tell you this story to inspire you. Your potential is limitless. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do something. And always be ready for the next challenge. You may be the next right person at the right time to do something amazing. Congratulations, you've accomplished a great deal by virtue of being here today, but the next chapter of your life should be spent preparing for the unforeseeable. Always work hard, constantly strive to improve yourself, and never hesitate to be the man or woman to get the job done. Remember, As someone much smarter than me once said, not everything faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced. Be that person. Good luck and God bless.
Thank you, District Attorney Sini, for those inspiring and heartfelt remarks. Will Provost Salkin please join me at the podium? It's a privilege for us to honor District Attorney Sini for his many years, despite his youth, of distinguished service. Timothy D. Sini, I am honored to present you to Provost Patricia Salkin at this time as a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
So those magic words, upon the recommendation of the Touro College Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center, and Dr. Alan Kadish, president of Touro College, and is approved by the Board of Trustees of the Touro College and University System and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all rights, privileges, obligations, and immunities appertaining thereto.
Now we come to the presentation of candidates and the hooding ceremony. As a symbol of degree conferral and the passing on of the responsibilities of the profession. Will the December 2017 graduates please rise? There you are. Provost Salkin, I have the honor to present to you one recipient of the Master of Laws degree, one recipient of a dual degree, Juris Doctor and Master of Social Work, and the Juris Doctor degrees who finished their requirements in December 2017. Having successfully completed all requirements for the degrees as prescribed by the faculty of the Law Center, they have earned the approbation of the faculty.
Pursuant to the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the State of New York and the trustees of Touro College, and having completed the specified requirements for said degrees, I hereby confirm the conferral of the Masters of Law degree and the degrees of Juris Doctor respectively on these members of the class of 2018 who completed requirements in December of 2017. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Will our May and July 2018 degree candidates please rise? Provost Salkin, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the degrees of Master of Laws in U.S. Legal Studies, one dual degree candidate for the Juris Doctor and Master of Business Administration, and the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor. In anticipation of successful completion of all requirements for the degrees as prescribed by the faculty of the Law Center, the candidates have earned the approbation of the faculty.
Pursuant to the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the State of New York and the trustees of Touro College, upon completion of the specified requirements of said degrees, I hereby confirm the conferral of the Masters of Law degrees in U.S. Legal Studies and the degrees of Juris Doctor, respectively, on these candidates and members of the class of 2018. Congratulations.
At this time, I would like to call upon Associate Dean Roger Citron, who will formally present the names of the recipients of and candidates for degrees.
Family and friends of our graduates, our students have worked very hard to earn the right to be here today, and you have all been part of their efforts. When your graduate's name is called, we encourage you to recognize their achievements. Do not hold your applause to the end. Show your pride and joy in the moment. Each graduate is being hooded by a member of the Touro faculty or administration, or by an attorney they have chosen. The purpose of the hooding ceremony is to pass on the mantle of the legal profession from one generation to the next. And the hooding ceremony will be assisted by class professor Myra Berman and assistant dean for students Althea Sterling. So we have to take our places. And our first degree, it's a Master of Law, is awarded to. It's a Master of Laws recipient. In absentia, Philip T. Pulaski, summa cum laude, a recipient of the Master of Laws. Our next recipient, a dual degree recipient for the Juris Doctor and Master of Social Work, Rona May G. Amarato, magna cum laude. And she's being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman, class of 2005, and Professor Tracy Norton. We now turn to the JD recipients. And first, Nicholas Joseph Buckshaw, being hooded by his mother, Joanne Pereno. Pandora Cole, being hooded by Associate Dean Desiree Kennedy. Keith Michael Collado, being hooded by his father, William Collado. Kenneth Mark Collado, being hooded by his uncle, John Collado. Lewis H. Collins, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Brian P. Conity, magna cum laude, being hooded by his father, Philip Conity. Maria E. Feldman, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Maribel Gomez, being hooded by her friend and mentor, Jeffrey Block, Esquire. Saif Kazi in absentia. Morgan T. Kitton, being hooded by her father, Cheryl Kitton, Touro Law, class of 1984. Dorothy Kong, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman and Assistant Director Natasha Dasani. Andrew Joseph Lamanto, being hooded by Assistant Dean Jim Montez. Donald J. Nenninger Jr., being hooded by Professor Leif Rubenstein. Kimberly Parker, being hooded by her friend and mentor, Melissa Janvier. Sean Salsey, being hooded by Professor Lynn Kramer. Brianna Erica Schlitt, being hooded by her uncle, Michael Walker. Thomas Paul Lakowski, magna cum laude. Being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Ian V. Worley. Being hooded by his father, Edon H. Worsley. Jennifer Lynn Zazo, being hooded by Professor Ann Nowak. We now have Masters of Laws in U.S. Legal Studies candidates. The first is Muhammad Waqar Ashraf. Being hooded by Professor Stephanie Giuliano, a member of the Touro Law Center class of 2010. Diana Frilling, magna cum laude, being hooded by Professor Giuliano. And Hala F. Tenuos, again being hooded by Professor Giuliano. We now have a dual degree candidate with a Juris Doctor and Master of Business Administration, and that is Meghna Kumar. Being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Now we have more Juris Doctor candidates, JD candidates. The first is Angel L. Alcantara, being hooded by Professor Brooks. Isolda Aliyeva, being hooded by Dean Ballin. Romina Jill Allstedt, being hooded by Professor Danielle Schwager, Touro Law class of 1998. Daniel V. Arnold, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Lisa Marie R. Kerr, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Melissa Balrup Hack, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Karina E. Bandy, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Catherine C. Bass, being hooded by her father, Nick Bass, and her mother, Sophia Bass, law school class of 1990. Nadia Bacall, being hooded by Professor Suzanne Darrow Kleinhaus, Touro Law Center, class of 1998. Vitangelo Rocco Botetto, being hooded by his mentor and boss, Elizabeth Justison, Touro Law Center, class of 2006. Shira Bloom, being hooded by her husband, Andrew Granick. Michael J. Borger, summa cum laude, full-time salutatorian, Touro Law Review editor-in-chief, being hooded by Professor Rena Seplowitz. John L. Borkwin IV, being hooded by Professor Marjorie Silver. Clayton A. Bowman, Moot Court Honors Board of Advocates editor-in-chief, being hooded by his uncle, Roy Bowman. Christopher Brogna, cum laude, being hooded by the Honorable Mark Cohen. Jessica E. Buscarino, being hooded by Professor Danielle Schwager. Shanna L. Butler, being hooded by Associate Dean Desiree Kennedy. Rachel M. Calhoun Ledwidge, being hooded by Assistant Director Natasha Dasani. Kaylin T. Canase, being hooded by Professor Daniel Subotnik. Aaron C. Carbone, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Christina M. Carone, summa cum laude, being hooded by Associate Deans Berman and Kennedy and the Honorable James Quinn. It takes a village. Dennis Carrion, summa cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Heather Davis Casal, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Stephen Eric Kahlo, being hooded by Professor Richie Klein. Victoria A. Saru, being hooded by Her mentor, Daniel Pilo, Touro Law Center class of 2017. Sabrina A. Chansey. Being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Joseph L. Chulo, being hooded by Professor Sidney Quistel. Christopher L. Civitano, magna cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Kathleen Mary Coggins, cum laude, being hooded by Professor Tracy Norton. Jason W. Cohen, being hooded by the Honorable James Quinn and Associate Dean Myra Berman. Alexandra Rose Colucci, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Catherine R. Cutrone, magna cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Michael B. Daly, being hooded by me. Luann DePoto Dallagiacono, summa cum laude, part-time valedictorian, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Devin DeFrisco, being hooded by Professor Rena Seplowitz. Jeffrey F. Dean, being hooded by his grandfather, David Dean, his uncle, Christopher Dean, and his mentor, Joseph G. Dell. Donald Alexander Dennison III, being hooded by Professor Denise Doty, Touro Law class of 1994. Azalee Gerard, being hooded by Michelle B. Diller, being hooded by Assistant Director Natasha Dasani. Robert Philip DiStefano, in absentia. Kyle Doherty, being hooded by Associate Dean Myra Berman. Sassy Bria DeMornay, being hooded by Professor Danielle Schwager. Diana F. Felberbaum, being hooded by her father, Samuel Felberbaum, and her best friend, Samantha Mano, Touro Law Center class of 2016. Michelle Ferlito, cum laude, being hooded by her father, Angelo Ferlito. Melissa R. Folds, being hooded by her mentor, Melissa Grippa, Touro Law class of 2016, and Professor Eileen Kaufman. Joseph A. Giglio, being hooded by Professor Seplowitz. Lauren E. Gollenbeck, being hooded by Supervising Assistant District Attorney Tara Fairgrieve, Touro Law class of 2005. Kelly Jennifer Gong, being hooded by Professor William Brooks. Alexis Taylor Grossman, cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Kennedy. Christina M. Gutierrez, being hooded by Assistant Dean Berman and Assistant Director Dasani. Michael J. Harrison, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Patrick Lewis. Patrick Lewis Hardy, magna cum laude, being hooded by Professor Lynn Kramer. Stephanie M. Hibbert, cum laude, being hooded by Professor Peter Zablotsky. Caesar J. Irigoyen, being hooded by Associate Dean Kennedy. Vladimir Istomin, being hooded by his wife, Vera Istomin. Sharmila Jade Jaggernauth, being hooded by her mentor, the Honorable Daniel Lewis. Julianne Jensen, being hooded by Assistant Director Natasha Dasani. Richard D. Johnson, being hooded by Associate Dean Kennedy. Thank you, Richard. Jenna Jonason, summa cum laude, part-time salutatorian, being hooded by Professor Darrell Kleinhaus. Adina Jonke, being hooded by Public Interest Director Tom Maligno. Yinping Jung, summa cum laude, being hooded by Professor Theodore Silver. Professor Silver. Michael J. Cafton II, being hooded by Professor Sidney Quistel. Haley Laura Cantro, class orator, being hooded by her father, Fred S. Cantro, Touro class of 2003. Mara Alexa Cassman, being hooded by her uncle, Sean R. Cassman, Esquire, class of 1999, and her boyfriend, Nicholas A. Tentoni, Esquire. Bradley Lawrence Kaufman, magna cum laude, being hooded by his mentor, Christopher J. Shimeri, Esquire, class of 2011. Renee Kendall Garcia, being hooded by her uncle, Winston Kendall. Momentarily. Renee Kendall Garcia, being hooded by her uncle, Winston Kendall. Jasmine M. Kendrick, being hooded by her mother, Joyce Kendrick, class of 1995. Caitlin M. Kennedy. Caitlin M. Kennedy, being hooded by Professor Danielle Schwager. Aisha Khan, being hooded by her brothers, Sheryar Chaudhry, class of 2014, and Omar Chaudhry, class of 2016. Natalie Kurakina, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Maureen Kurdadze, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Nicole LaGrega, being hooded by her father, Donald LaGrega. Andrea R. Laterza, magna cum laude, being hooded by Professor Lynn Kramer. Hyun Ju Lee, in absentia. Alexis N. Levine, being hooded by Professor Dan Sabatnik. Damara L. Lifreri, being hooded by Professor Klein. Brian J. Ocasio, being hooded by his mentor and boss, Adam M. Miller. Terry Lombard, being hooded by her mentor, the Honorable Raymond L. Bruce. Pablo A. Lopez, being hooded by Associate Dean Desiree Kennedy. And Professor Danielle Schwager, hooding Mr. Lopez. Kelly M. Mahoney, cum laude, being hooded by Professor Schwager. Chelsea McGrath, cum laude, also being hooded by Professor Schwager. Molly C. Maloney, magna cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Jesse A. Montez, being hooded by his friend, John Bradley. Constanza Maria Munt, being hooded by Professor Meredith Miller. Rachel M. Ostrike, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman and Professor Schwager. Pantelis Spiros Paliora, being hooded by Associate Dean Kennedy. Jennifer Park, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman and Professor Jeffrey Morris. Joseph A. Parziali Jr., being hooded by Assistant Dean Jim Montez. Brian R. Passarelli, summa cum laude, being hooded by Assistant Director Natasha Dasani. Jesse William Perez, being hooded by Professor Seplowitz. David W. Pernick, being hooded by Professor Seplowitz. Nicholas G. Pizzo, being hooded by Professors Kramer and Schwager. Brett Potash, being hooded by his mentor and friend, Bob DiGregorio, and college roommate and best friend, John Bradley, class of 2017. Boris Raitzen, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Alina H. Rizvi, being hooded by her uncle, Mohammed Jaffrey. Jonathan Alfred Roberts, being hooded by Professor Kaufman. Patrick Oscar Rogalski, being hooded by Professor Seplowitz. Barbara J. Roman, being hooded by her mentor and friend, John R. Sepulveda, class of 2017. Thomas John Rose, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Andrew Solomon, being hooded by his mentor, Henry Z. Schaub, and Professor Danielle Schwager. Noreen Sanam Sarwar, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Olivia Erica Schumann, being hooded by her godmother, Alumni Director Pam Green, Touro Law, class of 1998. Michael Robert Sorcy, being hooded by his brother, Joseph Sorcy. Nicole Hillary Spencer, being hooded by her mentor, Desiree Ortiz, class of 2017. Brandon Stevens, magna cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Reuven Zvi Sujnow, being hooded by Professor Quistel. Miriam Suleiman, being hooded by her mentor, Paula McFarlane, class of 2017. Joseph Timpanaro, cum laude, being hooded by Professors Kramer and Schwager. Marie Treglia, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman and Assistant Director Dasani. Melissa Ann Trinos, cum laude, being hooded by Associate Dean Kennedy. Joseph J. Tromba, cum laude, being hooded by Professor Kramer. Brian M. Troy, magna cum laude, being hooded by his father, Brian Troy. Eric Sean Turetsky, being hooded by his uncle, Philip Schneider, and Professor Klein. Rochelle L. Varon, cum laude, being hooded by her employer, Shannon McLeod, Esquire. Stephen E. Vlahadamas, being hooded by his brother, James, class of 2008. Robert Watson, being hooded by his grandfather, Thomas Watson. Jessica Stancati Weber, being hooded by Associate Dean Berman. Stephen Weinstein, summa cum laude, full-time valedictorian, being hooded by Professor Jack Graves. Leslie Donnell Wells, being hooded by Associate Dean Desiree Kennedy. Wilton W. Widman Jr., being hooded by the Honorable James Quinn. Congratulations to all of you, Touro Law Center's class of 2018.
Congratulations, graduates. You now become members of a group of over 6,500 graduates of Touro Law Center. Once again, congratulations and best wishes to every one of you and to your families and loved ones.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction, which will be delivered by the Law Center's campus rabbi, Rabbi Baruch Fogel.
As we stand here together at the end of this momentous occasion, we pray together to you, dear God, Hashem Yishmor Tzeischa Uvoecha. May God watch over you as you leave and as you enter. As you leave this wonderful institution, and as you enter the community of those dedicated to helping others, we ask you, God, to bless the parents, spouses, siblings, friends, and all those who have supported our graduates and who have invested their times and their love so that these graduates were able to stand here today. Bless them that they merit to continuously enjoy in their success and in the actualization of the good that they know that these graduates can accomplish in the world. Ribon Kol Olam, Master of the World, continue to bless the deans, administration, staff, and faculty of this wonderful law school, and help us all in our effort to educate and train lawyers who will make a real difference in your world, dear God. Bless those who give so much of themselves to ensure that every aspect of the school runs so smoothly, with continued strength for years and years to come. We also pray to you for your continued blessing for those who strive to impart lessons and ideals, who mold and shape their students so that they now can go and change the world. Most of all, I pray today that you bless our honored students whose graduation we are celebrating. Bless them that the lofty goals, dreams, and hopes that they have in their hearts as they stand here today stay with them always. K'el Elyon, Almighty God, we ask that these women and men be given the opportunities in life for them to actualize the aspirations that they hold in their hearts. We pray that the challenges that they will face will only help them grow as people, as lawyers, and above all, as partners in bettering your world. Grant them the ability to recognize the challenges that they will face as the wonderful opportunities that they really are. Let them be a beacon of light to their profession, their country, and to the world. Help them and us make this world a better place. Oseh Shalom Bimramav, God, who makes peace in the heavens, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. We pray that you bring peace to all of us here on earth. Amen.
Thank you, Bob. Same place next year.
So, very quickly, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for coming. Thank you for being part of this wonderful ceremony. What we're going to do is that we're going to ask you to please remain seated for just a few minutes longer so that our faculty and distinguished guests and graduates may exit the theater in a dignified manner. And, of course, graduates, faculty, and administration, and immediate family members will proceed to the atrium for a brief reception to permit photos with faculty, law school friends, and family. We wish you well as you go off to celebrate this grand occasion. Graduates, you may return your gowns in the lobby to the left as you exit the theater. Caps, hoods, and honor cords are yours to keep. No one goes home empty-handed. Professor Klein will lead the distinguished guests, administration, and faculty out of the theater. Following the academic procession, the faculty marshals will lead the graduates out of the theater. Families and guests are asked to remain seated until the end of the recessional. And now, with that guidance, congratulations, and I declare these commencement exercises officially concluded.